one of our previous partners for SoCreative. Her name is Taremeredzwa Chirewa. She's the current director of the Zimbabwe German Society. She is also a fine artist. She is a podcaster, and she is a woman of numerous talents. And a bit later into our discussion, we are going to be introducing three panelists to just talk a bit more about what the We Are So Creative Digital Storytelling Exhibition 2021 is all about. I would also like to mention that Tare is also part of our content committee. So Tare, welcome to our final edition, and thank you so much for joining us. If you could unmute yourself, please, Tare.
No, thank you.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Perfect. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. So before we start, I see you've got some beautiful art in the background. Is that one of your pieces, or which artist is featured in your background over there?
I'm a bit biased. It is one of mine. I did that.
Absolutely love that. And it's great that you celebrate the work that you have done, because I know that there are some artists that do the work, pass it on, don't want to see it. So that's encouraging. So well done.
Thank you.
So Tarib, talk to us briefly about what brought about the idea for this year's We Are So Creative Digital Storytelling Exhibition. I know that's a mouthful, but can you just break it down into nibbles for us?
Okay, so it's basically a response to the pandemic and what everybody's been going through over the past year. At the last summit, there were a few pillars that came up, which I will get a bit more into a bit later when we announce what it actually is. But there were some pillars that came up, and with the pandemic happening and everything changing so drastically, especially for creators, because all their work revolves around people, basically. So the exhibition is kind of a response to that, and looking at how creatives have come out of it and how they responded to it, and what it is that they're doing now that they weren't doing before.
Sure. I love that. Thank you so much for that overview, Tari. And a couple of weeks ago, actually before this level 4 was imposed on Zimbabwe, I went to a gathering, and I was in conversation with an artist, as a veteran artist. And one of the things I asked her was, how have you been able to pivot, right? Because we love to throw the word pivot around in these spaces. How have you been able to pivot with COVID? How has COVID impacted your journey as an artist? And she said something that was so profound to me at the time. She said, well, if you're an artist and COVID, and you're going on about how COVID has impacted you, you're an opportunist. Because if you're an artist, you talk about what is happening around you all the time. So there should be work that you would have been working on, because you do have people that are like, okay, there's a COVID grad, pick me. But should the role of artists be driven specifically by what is happening currently, or what they're doing is a reflection of the impact of what is currently going on? So I found that to be quite interesting. What are your thoughts on how artists are navigating this current space? And obviously, I understand that artists are different, but what is the realistic approach to navigate it? Because we don't know how long we're going to be in this state for.
So, I think she's right. I've always been one of those people that feels that artists and creatives shouldn't go for grants to do what the grant takes. There's always strings attached when there's money being given out, right?
Right.
I think creatives create regardless of what it is that is going on. Yes, thematic things, thematic points that are happening, and things that are happening around us that will influence the work that we do. But as creatives, you are constantly creating. So everything that happens around you can happen, but may not necessarily affect what it is that you're creating. in some cases.
Mm,
With the pandemic, however, you need to then now break it down and look at what sort of creators are you talking about. So, for example, I'm married to a musician, and for him, it was performing and being out in public, and that was cut completely. So that does change how he responds to certain things. So what his go-to was. So if his biggest income bringer was the performances and being out in public, then that's changed drastically, right?
right.
So it's about looking at what it is that you do and how the pandemic has affected people, so to say. Some people will thrive more in this setup because a lot of
Mm,
people have now decided to turn to books, TV, movies, music, and the like. But now it's about how are you presenting your work to your audience. I think that's where, the changes are and the pivoting will come in. So for him, for example, talking about my husband, he started looking at different ways of creating well before the pandemic happened, right? So when the pandemic
right.
came, it wasn't too much of a shock because he was trying to withdraw himself from performing in public.
Ah,
He did miss the performance aspect of it because it kind of still drives you. But because he had already started looking at different ways of working, it didn't hit him as hard as I think it would have most people that rely on that.
sure. So that's such a important point that you've raised. I think the shucks harsh reality that people have awakened to is that actually how are you planning forward, and how are you transitioning into, a lot of people talk related to what are your different streams of income, like you said, what are your different ways of creating, and what COVID did for a lot of people. I think a lot of people were shell shocked, especially with how hard the first lockdown was okay. I've only known this thing. I've been comfortable in this way. I've known how to do it this way. It's kind of like surprise, adapt or die, right? So
Mhm.
that's a very important question that you brought up. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, and for explaining the call or the response. Because another thing is you've got artists that are waiting, that are like on the prowl, sniffing for grants. But at what point are you expressing who you truly are? At what point are you expressing things that are of value to your ecosystem? What are those shared values? But then you now realize, now there's that conversation where at what point is art a means of income for self-expression's sake? Or the other flip of the coin is at what cost, what's the opportunity cost of getting a grant to further ideological agenda? But anyway, that's a whole conversation.
I was about to switch heads. I was about to switch heads. So I was thinking, okay, from the sponsor side.
Yes, but thank you. You were our sponsor last year, so thank you for that. So now talk to us around the content creation piece where you were part of the content committee. What were the things in terms of your research? What is the process that got us to where we are today, particularly for this digital storytelling exhibition?
Um, wow. Ooh. It seems so long ago. Um, I was heavily involved with more the visual side of it in terms of the content creation, and aligning the visuals with the themes that were brought up. So the biggest thing was, and a lot of people don't look at this and think about it, like if you look at the SoCreative logo right now, it's changed from the past 2 years. It's a little different, to kind of show what the digital meetups are, and then the colors as well. So what I did with another person from the team was look at what the colors actually mean and what they represent, because before the colors were very different from what they are now. And when we look at color, we forget that some people actually look a lot deeper into it and see and talk about, okay, what does the color actually represent? What does it stand for? And what does it mean?
Right.
And with the actual pillars that were raised for the meetups.
Can you explain those for us? Because now I'm just like having a light bulb moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, now I actually see it. But help us understand that, Tare.
So now I'm thinking, oh gosh,
Very-
where am I not? What does this color mean? And how's it killer?
Just like
But
this.
the different colors represent different things. So for
Sure.
example, green is considered growth and it touches on different psychological things. When people see a specific color, they have certain psychological reactions to it. So when we were now looking at the pillars and looking at the colors that were there, we kind of did the background work to say, okay, does it make sense that we have this color with this pillar? Does it actually fully represent that? And then also to not just have things for things sake. I didn't know how else to put it. Because usually
That makes perfect sense. That makes
you can
perfect sense.
say something is pretty, but there has to be a bit more depth to it because you're trying to tell a story and you tell a story in different
Mm.
ways. And so here they're trying to tell a story through the colors and the visuals that they're presenting to everybody and how people then respond and react to that.
Sure, that's so important, and picking up, the attention to detail. And I think one of the things that is such a great opportunity that we have as a continent and as a sector is actually digging deeper to unearth what it is about us, what these colors mean, what these symbols mean. Because I know that in developed beadwork, the white bead symbolizes this. What message are you communicating? So
Yeah.
Tari, thank you so much for that. Now we're going to get into a bit more about this We Are So Creative digital storytelling exhibition. Could you please talk to us a bit about the anchors and what that will look like before we get into our guest panelists from our hubs?
Okay, so for the exhibition, it was raised last year. These three pillars were kind of brought up, and we thought, why not use these as a guide to what work is submitted? We're looking at courageous commitment as one. The second one is magic, and the third one is restoring sustainability. So the idea of the exhibition is for creatives to tell us their resilience story, what it is that they did to get through this. You know, how did they pivot? What changed? What did they do? And they kind of represent this with work. So by work, it's open to any genre across the board. So artists, whether you paint, you draw, installations, anything really. Musicians, poets, writers. It's just basically a way to express your resilient story and put it out there and have other people respond and react to what it is that you did and how you pivoted.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Tari. So, next question. What is, sorry, I'm reading the wrong question. So this is an open call. What does that mean? Who is eligible? Can I contribute something? And what are the different art forms that you're looking at or looking for?
So yes, you can contribute something because you are hosting this, which means you're part of the SoCreative Hub Summit community.
Yay.
um, the call is open to SoCreative Hub Summit community members and
Okay.
creatives from Africa and the United Kingdom.
All right.
And we welcome submissions from both creatives and social entrepreneurs with a digital and creative story to share, both
Okay.
amateur and professional. So you don't have to be, like this
Like no
doesn't,
pressure. Right.
no
So
pressure. Like
it's not exclusive.
if you write poetry for fun, hey, and you don't consider yourself professional, you can submit that. We are okay
I
with
like
it.
that.
The idea is to express yourself and to tell us what it is your resilient story is.
Oh, absolutely love that. And when is that? Is there like a specific time frame? Is it, by the end of this weekend? I'm joking. Or what is the what is the time frame to submit this?
So the time frame is from today.
Yep.
The call is open as of today, and then it will be open until the 20th of August. So between now and then, you can submit whatever it is that you would like to do. There are going to be specific requirements in how you submit because quality is key. So,
Of course.
and because we're working within the digital sphere, we need to make sure that everything is up to date and like properly done. So if it's a video,
Mm,
a photograph of your work and what it is that you're doing, if you go onto our website, you'll see the details that are needed for submission. And then those that are selected, whatever submitted needs to be the way it will be viewed in the exhibition.
right.
There won't be any time in between to kind of get things to be redone. So whatever you're submitting
Mm,
has to be final and taken properly. So if it's a photograph of an image, for example, if it's a photograph of a painting, make sure it's taken properly with the right
sure.
dimensions, cut and cropped the way it should be and how it should look. But yeah, it's all going to be digital and it should be fairly easy for people to do, not too complicated.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too hectic. For those of you that do not know, our website is as follows: www.socreativesummit.com. That's where you'll get all the information that you have and that you need. So please make sure you bookmark that. And then now today we are going to also be in discussion with hub members who are going to talk about their participation in our digital storytelling exhibition. I'm going to introduce them, and then Tari, I'll pass it over to you to ask them a couple of questions. I don't think anybody who attended last year's summit will ever forget this woman, because we called her up on stage and she was just minding her business, having the time of her life, and she became the spokesperson for Ghana. 87. We have got Joanna Shamel, who is the program coordinator for Ghana Design Network. Round of applause, round of applause. Joanna, welcome.
Thank you, Rachel.
It's good to see you. And then joining us, representing Zuka Africa in Malawi, we have got Mr. King Cuthbert Magawa. Cuthbert, welcome, welcome. Round of applause to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Cuthbert is the Community Development Officer at Zuka Africa. And then last but certainly not least, we'll give a hearty welcome to Impact Manager for our Labs Tanzania, Jambo Angela Ilomo. Welcome.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to pass on the conversation and questions to Tade to ask you, what it is that we're looking for this particular ask, and then we will continue the conversation. Tade, over to you.
Alrighty then. Thank you, Rotendo. Hello, everybody. So to start, we're going to start with the lovely Joanna. We'll go in the order they were introduced. And I will ask a few questions just to kind of get people to start thinking around the exhibition and also what the hubs do. So would you like to share with us, the name of your hub? I know Rutendo said it, but the name of your hub and what it is that you guys do.
Yes, so thank you very much once again for having me. My name is Joanna Chamel, and I'm the coordinator for the Ghana Design Network. Basically, the Design Network is a community of designers that was set up to help boost the ecosystem of design in Ghana. So before we set up the community, we already had quite a number of designers in the country that were working in silos and in pockets, and most of the time, we didn't know where to find them or who they were, and also in terms of giving them access to certain kinds of opportunities, training and capacity building programs, it was a bit difficult. So we had to come together and build a community where we would now use that as a channel to help scale up our designers through capacity building programs, and also exposing them to different kinds of, markets. But also, ideally, one of the main focus of the Design Network is to export our creative work. So put the spotlight on what designers are doing here in the country and how it can serve, the outside of the borders of Ghana. So basically, that's what we do.
Oh, nice. So where exactly in Ghana is it? For those that are in Ghana and those that are planning to visit?
Yeah, so currently I'm based in Accra. We do have designers scattered all over the regions. So what we do is the design network does not have a physical space. We do have an office though, but then because of the nature of our designers, we try to work with the projects that we have in the member spaces instead. So we work a lot, digitally or virtually, but then pre-COVID, we did have a lot of programs in the member spaces, so that the idea is to let people travel to the different spaces to experience and also to know what the other members are doing. So based in Accra, but we do have people working on the ground in different regions, across the country.
Oh, nice. Lovely. So with regards to the exhibition, what anchor do you think that your hub members are going to focus on?
Yeah, so thank you. I think the exhibition is quite interesting. When Rudo also got in touch about it, we were quite excited because we are currently working on a partnership with one of the visual content providers called Picha. Picha basically is an Afrocentric content provider, so they do that through pictures, photography, and videos, and basically is to change the narrative of modern African life, both on the continent and in the diaspora. So with this particular exhibition, is going to be in partnership with Picha, and what we are doing is to use the anchor theme, that is courageous commitment, to demonstrate how people have been courageous through a very difficult time. Already we know that the creative industry pre-COVID was already not necessarily a priority area for most of our government. So a lot of the creatives didn't get that needed support, but they have been very courageous. And when COVID hit as well, obviously, if you weren't a priority sector before COVID, then during COVID, you are way down the line. So, but we've seen a lot more, of our creatives, designers, photographers, videographers really come out telling their own stories, their experiences. And with that, we feel that is actually the best medium to use to really visualize the kind of commitments that people had, the kind of courage that they showed throughout this period. And even being here still now in 2021, obviously some people have passed, but then we still have those who are really, keeping the course aside all the losses and all the stress that is happening. And currently one of the exhibitions that we are going to display is for persons of disability and how this whole situation has affected them. So Picha is currently doing a video and a photography, a photo exhibit or a photo compilation of how persons living with disability have been able to go through these times. And we feel that is also one of the areas that we need to show. So yes, we are showing courageous commitments from the artists, from the creatives, both from design, and using that also based on persons with disability. And another thing that we also want to showcase through courageous commitment is allowing people to tell their story. So within Picha, we have one of the photographers who suffers or who has a condition of bipolar disorder. And usually when he goes out on the field, sometimes he has had some kinds of episodes that have really challenged who he is, and also that have challenged the way he approaches his work, and how he actually client responding to him in that particular space. So it's also about telling his story. One of the ladies that we also have lives with lupus, and she has been one of the most committed people, to her cause, really arranging her task and really putting herself on a very tight schedule. And she's willing to also tell her story as to how she just stays committed to work, even through, just prioritizing between, work schedules and drag schedules, and also getting some, rest for herself. So we thought that these are important ways to showcase how people, one, are putting up their own courage just to stay within the time, but also stay committed to their craft, stay committed to their cause, and just give people that ability to share in their talent. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Like when I was listening to you, I was just thinking, why am I on the back end of this? Like you sparked the fire in me. Like I want to do something and show something as well. You sound so excited about it.
Yes.
And I think it's really important that you guys are looking at, well, we would say extraordinary because it's not the majority that go through issues like lupus and mental health problems and the like. And I think, especially on the continent, it's so important to talk about these things because
Yes.
we always kind of say, that's not an us problem, that thing.
Yes.
That's, you know, across the waters, they're the ones that have problems like that. We don't do that, but it's really important because I think if anything, 2020 did show people that mental health is real and that if you're
Yes.
not taking care of yourself in all aspects, mentally, physically, and spiritually, you are going to just crash. So I think
Yes.
that's really important. And I look forward to seeing all the work.
Yes, thank you. And I must say, though, that because of the very limited time, we are also really looking at how to best curate it together for this exhibition, because then we really need, the quality time to really sift through all the applications that are going to come and also all the photos and videos that we are going to use. So it's a lot of work within a very short time, but I think it's also part of courage and commitment to the cause. Yeah.
True. And I mean, I pick up from how you're talking that also looking at things like collaboration, that it's not just one person that's going out to do something, but trying to bring minds together to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna.
Um,
Next, we will have a chat with Cuthbert and he can answer the same questions, well, similar questions to what Joanna did. Hi, Cuthbert.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Good, thank you. So, can you tell us about your hub and what you guys do?
So basically, Zug Africa is a nonprofit organization based in Blantyre, Malawi, and our main focus is mainly on empowering the youth and women with life and professional skills that can enable them to be employable for entry-level jobs, and as well as create resilient businesses that can be sustainable throughout a couple of years. And we do this through these programs, internship program, social entrepreneurship programs, and mentorship program.
Oh, great. Okay. So with regards to the anchors, that I raised up earlier, courage, commitment, magic, restore, and sustainability. Which anchor do you think your hub members are going to respond to?
Mostly, I feel like we feel like it's on restore and sustainability, because because this is because during this pandemic, all people want to actually manage is to sustain their creative sides or whatever business they have at the moment. So we're actually working on we work on building not building, but then giving them the working space they need, which is mostly free, so that whereby they can now do all their work and also maintain their customers and all that without actual major difficulties. Because at the moment with this COVID, people, it's been difficult for most businesses, especially in the creative sector. So Zug Africa coming in, offering working space, mentorship, and also exposure through marketing with their work. So this is just to help them sustain in terms of sustainability.
Okay. So what mediums do you think they're going to work with?
Mostly the painting side, whereby they'll be able to show off their work to the public and all that. So you work hand in hand with the whole marketing, working with media, social media, and radios and TVs.
Oh, nice.
Free advertisement and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we go over to the lovely Angela, last but not least.
Thank you. So my name is Angela from ADAPTATION, Tanzania. We're based in Tanzania, obviously, in Iringa. It's in the south of Tanzania. So what we do, we work with young people who are unemployed at home. They're unsure what to do it with their life. So we provide them with entrepreneurship program that helps them be able to come up with innovative businesses. So we help them be able to identify opportunities that are around them and be able to use them and the scarce resources that they have and start innovative businesses. Yeah.
That's nice.
So, yeah.
Which,
our main.
no, sorry, go on.
Sorry. Oh, so, yeah. So what I'm really excited for this, and thank you for the opportunity. And our main anchor that we'll focus on will be magic. To us, magic means a lot. It means hope, mostly. We want to show this. We want to show the whole process of transformations of these young people who come to us with, most of them are always disappointed. They have their hopes lost. And what we do, we want, the magic that we want to show to you guys is the whole transformation process of having their lost hope, their hope lost, and regaining their confidence, regaining their hopes. And we hope we can do that by displaying some digital photos and videos to show the entire process that we reach these young people, but also the culture that we have, that we use to nurture them, to value the individualities so that they can come back strong and see the future that is out there for them. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you. What mediums do you think they're going to work with, members from your hub?
So we think we'll use some photos and videos. Yeah, we'll submit those.
Okay. That sounds also exciting. I can't wait to see the work that's going to be put in. And just to kind of get people to also start thinking around how different you can interpret these three anchors. I'm going to pick on maybe one or two people to kind of tell me what they perceive one thing to be. So I'm going to ask Fungi Chana, what he thinks magic means, and if he was to submit some work on the call, what it is that he'll do. Fungi's a dancer, by the way. So yeah. Fungi?
Hi, Tari. May you please ask the question again? I didn't hear properly.
Okay, I was asking what magic means to you. And if you had to answer the call and work with the pillar magic, what does magic mean to you?
Wow. That's
Is that a question?
Magic. So you said what magic means to me.
Yeah, when you're thinking about resilience in the last year, 2020, and how that's affected your work and how you've pivoted, how would you interpret magic?
By erasing COVID. Yeah.
Huh?
By erasing COVID. But
now I'm
this is a hard
how
one.
you dance that out.
Pardon?
Now I'm so curious to see how you dance that out. How do you erase COVID?
Well, because they say that if you're if your body is it has heat inside, COVID actually has lower, what you call that? I'm not a doctor, but anyway, yeah,
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so basically you actually be much more healthier because in dance it helps mental health, physical health, immune system. If you're gonna go the biological way. So at the end of the day, I think that's all magic. I think to me that is magic. Trying to also erase the fact that we're in this situation, getting our minds away from the fact that we are in COVID and we're indoors, we're working digitally. So when I use dance as magic to teach and actually captivate and equip people, do it so that they forget about all their troubles and what's going on around the world, that they're always up and motivated.
Okay.
I don't know if I do properly, but yeah, that question was like...
You took me in a direction I wasn't expecting, so that's good, because it shows that, there are so many different ways you can interpret these different anchors. So as I return it back to our lovely host, Rutendo Rwashe, I'm also going to put her on the spot because she's a poet and aspiring artist. So, if you had to respond to the call, Rutendo, which one would you pick and how do you interpret it?
Thank you so much. It's just amazing being put under pressure. Now I know how I made everybody feel, and I would like to apologize. Shucks, which one would I pick? I think I would fuse the three of them. Because I think, I just like exploring things. I'm multifaceted in that way. So I'd pick a little bit of the three of them, and I'm just going to look at my phone quickly so that I can just weave that through for you guys, what that would look like, right? So we've got the three: courageous commitment, magic, repair, and sustainability. So that would probably look like one of my favorite art forms. I think over the last couple of months, I've been painting behind the scenes. I've been recording spoken word, and I've been writing. So my repair and sustainability would be depicted through my mental health journey in my art, and my awareness, my magic would be in, so when I do spoken word, I've got this thing, I know in jazz they call it scatter or something like that. So I like making and creating different sounds. So there's sounds and languages, and I'm going to speak, right? And if you can understand what I'm saying, I'll say it in English. If you can understand what I'm saying, then it's a language. So I'll start. Kabene bi yubu hibe aba obata ba ibe mu sebe ibi nyibi. Nebe kubuti bibi, bebaki bibi nibi the baby. Pibi pobolo wo dibi, pibi kibi la kibi dibi sibi. So I recorded a piece speaking in that. So they call it the B language or the P language. So it's just I'm adding the letter B or the letter P in whatever part it is. So it's looking at different ways to actually do rap music, because it's a form of rap, right? Because you're speaking fast. So excited, right? But like when you hear rap music, you listen to Busta Rhymes and it's blah, 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 blah. So that's the magic of our languages, right? Where people used to look at these things and they'll laugh at it, but when we value that, there's magic in that. And in terms of another part of magic that I don't think we explore is we don't explore our bodies enough. We don't explore different ways of enunciating different things. I've got a mic here, but you can't, well, can you hear my thudding? I've got a piece that I've done with me using this part of my, I don't know what part this is. What is this, like collarbone? So I can.
Boxes.
It is, oh, okay, man, thanks, Mom. So this is where the voice box is. So I've created different pieces just by thudding my chest and manipulating my voice box. So I've got songs that don't need actual instrumentation. And I think that's the magic that we have through our knowledge systems as Africans that date way back. Same with the P language, it dates way back. Because again, in our earlier conversation with Anesu, we're talking about how do we reclaim our legacies. And a lot of our legacies were lost in oral tradition because we didn't value what we were taught or told, right? So that is that magic. And then the last one around resilience. It's again looking at in what ways have we been able to navigate and move forward with who we are. And I think the fact that we're alive today, despite everything we've been and put ourselves through, is testament to that. So how would I contribute to that? I'll just send a photograph of myself, because that's what represents resilience to me.
My goodness. I swear this was not scripted. I literally put her on the spot and she brought out exactly what it is I was trying to get across. So thank you.
You're welcome. So then diamonds are produced under pressure. So thanks for the pressure.
You're welcome. So basically, the idea of the exhibition is to express yourself however you feel is best, and what brings out you and who you are, and telling us what your resilient story is. And I mean, just to add to the whole concept of the exhibition, besides the work that we're actually going to pick to exhibit, we will probably also then have like a photo grid of people's behind the scenes background stories. So please also send some of those in terms of how you're resilient, and we'll throw in a hashtag there as well to kind of get it to blow up and have people think about what's happening in Zimbabwe and around the continent. So yeah, over to you, Rutendo. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for the comments to everybody else. I know we did have somebody who commented, hang on a second, I think it's, I lost that. Let me scroll up. Balenhle, what a beautiful name. Balenhle says, I'm excited too. I'm South African in the United Kingdom. Can't wait to see Ghana fashion getting out and across the globe. We'll be looking out for the designers and their work. That is very, very exciting. Balenhle, please, can you unmute yourself? And if you're comfortable, show your video and just tell us a bit about where in the UK you are and what work it is that you are doing. And what Mbalenhle means. It sounds so beautiful.
Hi everyone. Okay, first of all, Mbalenhle means beautiful flower.
Oh, it's close. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. So I'm based in a town called Burgess Hill in the UK. It's close to Brighton. Basically, the line of work that I do, I'm in IT, but part-time also like a poet. So I'm looking forward to submitting my work.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And we were talking about the different pillars. So, and like what Tali did to me, I'm not going to put you under pressure, but what draws your inspiration around your poetry? What sort of subjects where do you get your inspiration from? And do you just write and recite, or you just write?
I haven't recited in a while. I've been writing only. And I think what inspires me the most is like what we go through every day. Sorry about the noise, that's my 5-year-old. So things like mental health and everything, it's something that I'm currently working on because it's really close to my heart.
It's winter.
What's your daughter's name? It is Winter. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we look forward to receiving your submission for this year's exhibition. Thank you so much for being a sport. So please, coming up next, Diane A, could you please unmute yourself and tell us where you are joining us from? I feel like I'm on like drive time radio. I miss being on radio. I think this is what is happening. Diane, if you could unmute yourself and just let us know where you're joining us from.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My English is not very good. I'm sorry. It's my first participation, and I am interested in creative digitals, not directly for myself, but I like writing very much, and I'm planning to launch my website about writings.
That's beautiful.
It's most principally, I should say, in interior design and building construction area. This is my job. And I like very much what is the power of digital messages. And I have a cousin who is a photographer, and Josiane Faubert, who is part in this meeting. And I like this. I'm curious. I was curious to hear you, to know what you do. So I'm just surrounding.
Fantastic. Diane, thank you so much. Diane, where are you from, and where are you joining us from?
I am in France.
You're in France.
France, yes. Chambéry, Aix-les-Bains, exactly. It's south, not south, but you know Lyon in France, or Grenoble?
Yes. I wanted to do my
Yes,
master's in Grenoble. Oh, wow.
It's not far from Grenoble.
Oh, wow, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for that feedback. And thank you for joining us. And I think just to add on to what Diane says, one thing that we can also learn from, and great stories that we learn through Indigenous architecture. There is a couple, his name is Chico, I can't remember his surname, but he started building and developing, we're in the process of building 54 homes, focusing on Indigenous architecture. And I think Diane brought on a very important component. That's it, Chico Chazunguza, where they are building homes or structures that are influenced by Indigenous architecture. So maybe, Diane, that could be something that you could also look into as you're doing your research and writing. And then another thing in terms of interior design, I know that a couple of years ago, and I don't know because of COVID, the design indaba was really, really big in South Africa around how do we curate spaces that speak to who we are and our experiences as Africa. There we go. Thank you, Terry, for putting that. That's Zimbabwe arts. I think that's something that is definitely something to earmark and look forward to. So thank you so much for joining us and for unearthing that.
Thank you,
Diane. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Merci. Okay, so we are getting ready for our masterclass. Upenyu will be joining us for our masterclass at 3 o'clock. If you haven't already done so, please make sure that if you would like to submit your whatever it is for this storytelling exhibition, to visit our website, www.SoCreativeSummit.com. I'm going to call upon Tume Ndlovu. Please, may you unmute your mic so that we hear a bit about where you're from and what the session has been for you. And I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Tume.
Hi.
Hi, Tume. How's it going?
All right, and you?
Good, thank you. Where are you joining us from?
So I'm from Harare.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. So,
oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I can.
Sorry, I cut you off. Please just give us a bit of a background around what sort of work you're involved in and where you are.
Okay, so I'm in so I'm in Harare, and I am a self-taught designer. So so what I mostly do is that I do kind of do a lot I do design work for my office, and essentially I base it I'm working on the Facebook. I work with I work on flyers and sometimes labels whenever it's like a special event. So that is mostly the crux of what I do, but also I do also want to really look and connect with others in this space.
Yep.
just so then like it's a good way to also get some food to get feedback from my peers.
That's so important. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing the work that it is that you're doing. Sorry, I can talk for like years, and I'm getting the signal that, you know, it's almost 3:00. But Jimmy, thank you so much, because you highlighted something that is so important, the importance of getting feedback. I think if you surround yourself with people that within your ecosystem, they should be springboards that you can, you know, give each other constructive feedback around in what way can we articulate ourselves better, in what way can we host and handle things in a way that makes all of us be the absolute best that we can. So Jumi, thank you so much for highlighting that for us. And we look forward to your submission as well for this year's storytelling exhibition. Thank you, Jumi.
Thank you.